Hi.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh,
Sorry, I was just trying to work out what button to press and
oh, right, don't worry. Yeah, well, there's not really the one button, but yeah, it's not at all
yeah.
obvious. So, all good. I'm here now. I'm Hui here from Zebee. Really nice to meet you, Safwa. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
nice to meet you too.
Thank you so much for
Thanks for
joining.
having me on.
Yeah, no, we love doing these chats. So yeah, welcome to another episode of Chat with Sebi, where we've been chatting with a bunch of great people and organisations about what they've been up to. And today we have Safwa here from Hastings Community of Sanctuary. I'm very excited to be talking to you. So I know you guys are all about raising awareness, about policies to do with immigration detention. So yeah, very very excited to be chatting to you. Thank you for joining us. First of all, can you just tell us a bit about yourself and your personal background, if that's okay?
Sure. So I'm Safwa. I'm a member of the campaigns team for Hastings Community of Sanctuary, which is basically part of the wider City of Sanctuary network. And the organisation's vision is to provide safety for people seeking sanctuary in our nation and to make our towns and cities in the UK a welcoming and inclusive place for those seeking sanctuary. And a bit about me. So I grew up in Hastings and I have a creative background.
Okay.
Um, so I'm actually training to be an architect at the moment.
Right.
It's a very long course and I'm halfway through. And yeah, I've always been into art, hand drawing and painting mainly, but I started to get into digital art at university. And I've only really started creating my own digital art recently alongside the Instagram campaign.
Okay.
So I'm still, experimenting and exploring myself. And I use a mixture of hand drawing and Photoshop. Um, And while I was at university, I joined the Amnesty International student group. And it was around this time that I started to think about the power of art and storytelling as a way of engaging people in a way that statistics don't really. So,
Right.
yeah.
That's awesome. So how did you first get into Hastings Community of Sanctuary, or how did you hear about it?
So actually, it was only quite recently, around the time of lockdown.
Right.
Um, and yeah, and so my brother, he's been in it for a while, and he works on the website, and so I just started to get involved, and I set up the Instagram campaign. It kind of emerged in lockdown in response to the campaign for an amendment to the immigration bill, which proposed a 28-day time limit to immigration detention. And yeah, this kind of coincided with that.
I see. I guess like take a step back for those of us who don't know much about the situation. What are immigration detention centers?
So immigration detention is basically the practice of holding people who the UK government wants to remove from the country in immigration removal centres in the UK. And basically, the UK is the only country in Europe with no time limit on this. Um, and according to the European Court of Human Rights, um, detention should only be used as a last resort. Um, and it should really be used to facilitate imminent removals from the UK, but that isn't the case at all. And yeah, it's basically really affects people who come to the UK as migrants or as asylum seekers. And the thing is, these people are really vulnerable, and they've already experienced a lot of trauma in their lives, such as trafficking, torture, sexual violence, and being detained just re-traumatizes them. They should be protected, not punished. So that's what we're trying to promote.
I think that's amazing. I mean, I think one thing I certainly don't realize, I suppose it's not on like mainstream media. People don't really kind of, talk about it as much as they should do. But, why can't these people from, especially from like war-torn countries, etc., seek asylum easily?
Yeah, so the rules are that in the UK, people who want to seek asylum here, they have to they can't do it in another country. They have to come here in order to claim asylum,
Right.
and that's why we've seen a lot of boat crossings across the Channel, people really risking their lives in order to claim asylum here. And once they arrive here, they are detained. And, as I mentioned, it just re traumatizes them. And I think one of the common misconceptions is that people like fleeing persecution, claiming asylum, they have to claim it in the first country they enter, the first supposedly safe country. However, that's not actually the case. They are under no obligation to claim asylum in the first country that they enter. Um, and that's according to the rules set out by the UN Refugee Convention, which the UK joined in the 1950s.
Right.
And like the term kind of safe country, um, actually asylum legislation varies greatly across different European countries. Um, so in some countries, people, I mean, we've seen the recent fires in the Moria refugee camp, which has just displaced 13,000 people. So, it's shocking. And a lot of people, they'll have relatives living in the UK, they'll speak the language,
Yeah.
and so they'll want to come here. And so, yeah, it's just appalling.
That's shocking. So you're saying, to seek asylum, you have to be physically in the UK, but in order to get asylum, you would then have to be detained for however long it might be. It can be infinite amount of time.
Yeah. So there are no safe and legal routes to enter the UK at the moment. And I guess we've seen like a recent spike in channel crossings over the
Yeah,
last few weeks. And I think people are under the impression that, loads of people are coming over here, and that's not the case.
yeah,
And actually, from April to June this year, there's been a 40% decrease in the number of people claiming asylum. The reason that we've seen a spike in channel crossings is because due to the pandemic, other routes have been closed off, and
right.
that's why more people are coming via the channel. Um,
Yeah,
but senior Home Office officials actually confirmed that the overwhelming majority of people coming via the channel are refugees, like genuine refugees, and um, I think on the 3rd of September they, um, you know, said this to the Home Affairs Committee, and 98% have claimed asylum. And it's a very dangerous journey to make, and
right.
these people are obviously fleeing in even greater dangers, and that's why they have to put their lives at risk in order to, find a chance to just live a normal life. And everyone deserves that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
I think so I saw a few of your Instagram posts. They're very good, by the way, Safwa, because they're very kind of visual and, like you said, you use storytelling as a way. And I think one of the earlier ones you said was something like, you know, so you're struggling with a lockdown, being locked in your house for weeks or a couple of months. How would you feel if you're in lockdown with a group of strangers with no privacy and no personal
yeah,
space? And I kind of imagine being that person for 2 seconds, like, no, that's just horrible. But that's what's happening,
yeah,
right?
exactly. And I think so with the campaign, I tried to explore the theme of being locked up in lockdown.
Yeah,
um, because we're all, we've all experienced some kind of restrictions in our daily lives, and we continue to. So trying to approach it from that angle of, would you like lockdown to be indefinite?
yeah,
Um, and we've seen the toll it's taken on mental health.
definitely.
And just for me, for example, like there were times when I just thought, oh, when is this going to be over,
Yeah,
um, but at least I was with family. I could still make choices over what I wore or what I ate.
yeah,
I still had more access to the outdoors than people held in isolated immigration removal centres in the middle of nowhere.
yeah, true.
So yeah, so it's just, you know, approaching it from that lens and trying to, um, you know, um, kind of humanize migrants, to counter the negative and dehumanizing portrayal
Of
we
course.
often see by the press.
Yeah, of course. I mean,
Yeah,
like Syria being a good example, it's kind of like, you wouldn't kind of take the dangerous route coming to the UK if you have a choice. Sometimes it is just
yeah,
you want to live your life in a better place, as anyone would, and it's
yeah,
just really heartbreaking to see those footages and of people being on this like small dinghy, like going across the channel crossing, and it, it- it's it's not like people are doing it for the sake of it. They have no choice.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really heartbreaking to see that. So I guess on the more sort of a positive note, what with the Hastings Community of Sanctuary, what are you guys actively doing to kind of help with the livelihood of the refugees?
So we've been working on supporting different campaigns, and
Okay,
so for me, I'm mainly involved with the campaign to end indefinite detention. But
right.
actually, so the amendment was voted on in June, and it didn't go through.
Right.
So we're still a long way off. And but we would really like to see at Hastings Community of Sanctuary an end to immigration detention altogether.
Right.
Um, yeah, and so that's mainly what I've been working on, but there are so many other campaigns that are interlinked. And another one is the Lift the Ban campaign, which would give asylum seekers the right to work.
Yeah,
And the thing is, there are sometimes asylum seekers have to wait for several months and years, um, in order to, you know, for a decision to be made on their claim.
I see.
And they're forced to live on around £37 a week, to cover all their basic costs, food, transport, other necessities. And just I'd ask anyone to imagine trying to live on that.